So I want to step my bead rolling up to the next level. We've already done a lot of great upgrades for my bead roller here. We got it on a heavy duty rolling stand on casters. We added a motor to it. And honestly, this thing kicks butt for smaller panels. But I want to get into doing big panels, right? Kick panels, the roof panels for my Blazers roll cage, door panels, floor pans, and big panels need support. And we ain't got no support here. So the time is upon us to build a table.
It's our set.
I'm Rob, this is Venturi Fab, and today we're throwing another upgrade at my Woodward Fab bead roller. This is the Super Bead, which is basically your standard plate style bead roller. It's just a little bit thicker than the standard ones. So it resists deflection a little bit more. It's a little bit more rigid. So it's just, you know, it's not quite one of those big fancy trapezoidal plate ultra box ones. But this is a really good middle step between the thin bead rollers and one of those without spending like $5 on a bead roller, right? I'm not ready for that yet. So we've already done a few upgrades to it. Like I said, we got it on this rolling stand. That's an episode in our channel. We've got the motor for it. This is a variable speed motor, so the more you press down the pedal, the faster it goes. The slower, or the less you press down the pedal, the slower it goes. So you can slow down for a turn and then floor the pedal and crank through your straights. This thing works fantastic, but like I said in the intro here, I'm wanting to do bigger panels, right? We're getting into doing cooler stuff with Merle, and we've got some really cool projects coming up on the channel. We got Mr. Jones. That's a little Datsun 620 pickup. That's going to be super rad. And we just picked up a 65 Cutlass. That's going to be getting a bunch done to it real soon. So I need my bead roller to do larger panels now. So with the small panels, it's great because you can work around it. You're holding them anyways. But with a large panel, like a roof panel for my roll cage, you know, we're building that out of like 032 aluminum. So if you put it in here on your own, you're trying to like keep it rigid and keep it following its path, and it's just this really messed up balancing game of trying to hold it, trying to support it, trying to keep it from flopping while you're also trying to follow your lines. And what a table will do, if you're new to these, is it's a table, right? It's a flat surface that floats around this. It'll give support on the sides and it'll give support in front of this, so that when you put these larger panels through here, it's supported in the middle. Got my hand there. This is my hand table. So what you can do is be on this other side and you don't need to worry about supporting the whole panel anymore. So I'll just be able to focus on following my panel and bead rolling it to the best of my ability. And I want to get into doing some fancy stuff, right? Like I want to do pleats, and I want to do floor pans, and I want to do scales, and I want to do hexagons, and like all that cool stuff that you can do on bead rollers. But you can only really do it if you can just focus on doing that. If you're trying to do like a hexagon and balance your panel at the same time, it's just going to turn out like garbage. So today, that's what we're handling. We're going to grab some measurements here. If you're doing this for your bead roller, don't go off of my measurements. They should be probably pretty close for yours, but measure on your own, because like I said, this is the thicker chassis on these. I don't know what yours is. I know like the Eastwood ones and stuff are a little bit smaller than this. So I can't guarantee that my measurements are going to work for you, but what we're building will work for you. So let's get into it. We're going to measure first and then start cutting some metal. So this is called the throat depth on your bead roller. The throat on mine, from the tip of the die to the throat, is 19 inches. So we're going to make this 19 inches. I'm not going to cut the front of this, you'll see as we make it, but I'm not going to cut the front of it directly touching this. It's going to have a quick release pin here so that when we need to change dies, it'll swing down and out of the way. Or if I'm doing a smaller panel and I need to like curve it, like if I'm doing a curved flange or something, I can put that thing out of the way. It won't interfere with that. So we're going to go right before this curve. That'll give us 19, and that would put the 19 about 3/4 of an inch in front of this face, which will be plenty. And then width-wise, we've got some bolts here, so I need to be out at least 5/8 of an inch on this side. And then to be clear on this other side, I need to be 3. So that would be 3 5/8 at a minimum. We're going to call it 4. So I've got a tiny bit of wiggle room in that. So our inner cutout is going to be 19 by 4. And then I'm going to give myself a 12-inch pad on the front. So 12 inches will come down, and then I'm going to taper it in to the back. And we're going to end up with something like this. I had already measured this before. So our panel or our pad's going to be 20 inches wide. We'll have a 12-inch runner in the front. The sides will be flat back 6 inches. So they'll be flat back to here. It'll be full width, and then it'll narrow in. So let's get to it, boys. So tip number 1, when you're laying out these sheets, when you get them, they got all kinds of junk on them. All your mill scale and oils and all that stuff. So if you want your markers and whatever to have a chance at a long life, then give your panel a quick wipe down before you start marking on it. Like that. That is why your markers die super fast. So for reference, let's check how thick this is. I'm pretty sure this is 16 gauge, which is probably a little bit of overkill for what I'm doing with this, but it's what I have. Yeah, not 17, 16. And if you don't have one of these, I'll link it in the description. They're super handy to have. This is a sheet metal gauge. So on one side, it's got your gauges, and on the other side, it's got your inches. So we're going to make this 20 inches wide. And we're going to mark 20 in a couple spots because my straight edge doesn't mark all the way across. It's a little bit shorter than this panel is. And we'll double check because we're paranoid all the time. Look at that, 4 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we want to come up 19. And because I know myself, and if I leave this corner sharp, my hip is going to find it 98% of the time. So we're going to round these corners off too. I'm going to do 1 inch, I'm going to do a 2 inch round off. So this is what our table is going to be like. And we will get to cutting. Ta-da! See, as a quick little sneak peek, this is what we're going to be doing. So we got that. I'm a dummy and I cut these both 1 inch long because in my head I was thinking this was 32, but you get the idea. Maybe that's not such a bad thing. Let's see. I'm just gonna leave them long because then I can put my pivot a little bit further back. Maybe it'll swing down a little different. We'll see. I can cut them shorter if I need to. I'm definitely going to need these ends, so those are 16 and 16, so we'll cut 2 at 16, and then we're going to do, maybe I'm going to need a diagonal there, or do I just want to go, we'll put those on, and then we'll decide. Alright, well, we're going to get this all tacked together, and then once these are all kind of laid in where they're at, I'll cut these last couple pieces, and then we can weld this up, start fitting it to the bead roller. I got to pull that apart and make the little stanchions off of this to go to those mounts, but I'm waiting for some pieces to get here in the mail for that. They should be here later tonight, so we'll probably get to that tomorrow, but we're going to get this chunk of it all finished up right now. Little dippy dip. Oh, a new one. That's crazy. I kicked the pedal over and it triggered it while I was holding the tungsten right there, and it shot through. My tungsten was close enough to the collet in there, and it jumped through and shot the crap out of me through my hand. Friggin' amateur hour over here. I don't want any of this move. I don't want any of this to move. So I'm going to let it cool, still kind of clamp down. And then we'll get these last few pieces fitted and tacked in and joined in with this. And I think we're getting pretty close. And we are going to get started on this bead roller. I think originally I was going to take it apart on that, but that's really kind of a pain in the butt. So I think I'm going to reset this camera, we're just gonna mark this thing out and then drill it accordingly. Because I feel like at this point in my life I can drill straight enough freehand, so I think we're just gonna do that. So I'm just gonna line the tape up with this bottom edge and with this bottom edge, and then we'll come up with a good measurement and do a bolt and a bolt hole. If we're off a tiny bit, realistically, dude, this is a removable table on a bead roller. Like, if it's not perfect, it's gonna be okay, because it's just a flat surface that's gonna sit a little bit below the top of this wheel to act as a support. So as long as I'm not like crazy crooked and nuts, it'll be just fine. So this thing is gonna sit right about there. So if I don't want to be touching that, I want to be ahead of that a little bit. Take my favorite punch. Find out how hard of steel they use for this thing, but that punched through pretty easy. So let's get our calibrated drill eye here, and that is pretty stinking straight, man. Got a little piece of tape on the backside and see. So for reference, right, we're right at the top line of the tape. The tape's flat down there. Pretty stinking straight through there, and money. It's almost like I've done this once or twice. So once the hole's established, if you're not an experienced driller of things, once the hole's established, it's got like a little bit of depth to it, it'll carry on its own. But at the beginning, I'm just alternating my perspective to make sure that I look from here, I look 90 degrees off of this. From the top, I look 90 degrees off of this, so that we're nice and straight going through. Peekaboo! Oh, you like that, don't you? All right, let's bring you into what we got here. So, we've got our holes drilled. We're drilled and drilled. We've got all our standoffs drilled. And then I've got these guys as spacers. So we're going to tack these. I marked center and center where they all should go, at least according to my measurements. So we're going to throw a couple tacks on, We'll do the same back here. And then we'll test fit. Let's get to it. All right, moment of truth. And I promise I won't edit this out. If I'm wrong, if I'm not right, and it's straight on there, you guys will know the same time I do. So, thinking put this middle one on first. We got our pin in this. Let's find out. Oops. Gotta get under the things first. So close. Honestly, this is close enough. I'm just gonna warble out that hole a tiny bit because that's all it is. But it fits. So I'm gonna finish welding all of those, and then I'll warble out. Yeah, and then I will warble. Warble's a word, right? Yeah, we're gonna warble out that one. Get some paint on this, and check back in. We'll let that cool all the way, and then do this back one, and then adjust these a tiny little bit as needed so that they're silky smooth going in and out. And get some paint on this bad boy. Make her look all pretty. Oh, look at Merle there. Got to get this bead roller finished up so I can get those roof panels done. Get that cage back in there. What are you guys thinking? Metallic gold. I'm just going to do the bottom. We're going to leave the top of it normal. This is either going to look really good or really bad. But if it looks really bad, we'll just hit it with some black or something. Life's too short to take seriously. Paint random things gold. Why the heck not, right? Not gonna lie, this is so tacky. I think I love it. Alright, well, not gonna lie, I think this gold turned out freaking killer. Super tacky, but it's me, so it's tacky in the right way. So let's get this mounted on here. I'm gonna see it fully welded if I need to notch that out at all or if we're good. So that one. There we go. But wait, there's more. So normally, to control your up and down and your pressure on the panel, you've got this little lever. And I've never really been a huge fan of this. It's just a bolt that's through a hole they have drilled in this. So I ordered a handle for it because we're gaudy. So we went with some diamond cut, bubble filled JDM acrylic drifty boy junk. I got a shoulder bolt for the bottom of that, and then a piece of 3/8 that we're gonna fit to this. So we're gonna, this is wider than this is, so we're gonna taper these edges, get this guy on here, and then with the shoulder bolt, this will be able to free spin. And then this will go on here, so when we're bead rolling, we can just crank her on down and crank her back up. So let's go. I wasn't planning on doing these in this video, but I didn't think it was going to be here till this weekend, and it showed up today. So we're going to squeeze it in because it's Wednesday night after work and I still need to edit this video. So we're going to fit this in real quick. Not going to go into crazy detail. Like I said, we're going to sliver this down so that it looks pretty decent. Drill a hole, notch this in to fit against this, TIG weld it in, and then we're done. Let's get to it. thing on here. Right. Well, I gotta say this thing's fantastic, and between the metallic gold paint and my razzle dazzle knob here, I think this is the first thing truly deserving of my low-key gaudy sticker, available along with a bunch of other stickers and shirts and hats and all that stuff that you always see me wearing in videos at venturifab.com, and 100% of that helps with the tomfoolery around here. So 100% goes to all of our shenanigans. So let's put this guy on here. I'm gonna put him back down here. Hopefully it won't get too torn up there. So there we go. We are ready to bead roll those roof panels and get that cage back in Merle so we can go run over some stuff. So remember, if you don't get started making your tools do what you need them to do and look pretty snazzy in the process, if I do say so myself, you'll never get finished.